My boyfriend only lasts a minute, so I have to take matters into my own hands. My new toy is incredible, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Right after I finished another round, a few lines of pop-up comments appeared before my eyes. OMG, she has no idea the toy is synced up with Owen. I heard that when things get intense, he sees visuals too. Spicy. I froze. A second later, I scrambled to throw it in the trash. Because Owen isn't just my boss. He's also the cold, aloof academic superstar from college who absolutely despised me. I was still half asleep when Mark gently stroked my head. Babe, I have to work late today, so don't wait up for me tonight. I mumbled an okay. It wasn't until the door clicked shut that I fell back asleep. I was woken up by a call from a delivery driver. It was Sunday, a rare day I hadn't set an alarm. I'd slept all the way until 9. After getting the package, I came back inside and finally noticed the breakfast laid out on the table. Last night's little bit of unpleasantness vanished. Honestly, aside from his performance issues, Mark was perfect for me. Good family, a respectable job, a gentle personality. As for that, I slit the packing tape with a box cutter. A pink object came into view. Slowly, I thought to myself, I can always take care of it on my own. I took it into the bedroom and spent a long time studying the instruction manual. Finally, I figured out how it worked. A few minutes later, I was a little breathless. After a few more rounds, the air itself felt hazy and hot. It was the first time I truly thought that whoever invented this thing was a genius. It was intoxicating. So much more effective than a person. I couldn't put it down. Just as I was getting ready to go again, the sound of pop-up comments suddenly appeared in my ears. OMG, she has no idea the toy is synced up with Owen. The relief he must have felt having to call an emergency brake in the middle of a meeting, anyone? I heard that when things get intense, he sees visuals too. Spicy. All the strength drained from my body. The object fell from my hand onto the bed. I stared at it from the mattress, stunned for a moment. The comments kept coming. LMAO, I bet that scare his wife just gave him made him feel super guilty. Does he think he's hallucinating? I mean, what sane person would ever think of a psychic link? What the hell? This was insane. I must have been hallucinating from the pleasure. You really shouldn't do this kind of thing too often. That was the conclusion I came to. Then, as if I'd just seen something disgusting, I quickly stashed it away in a drawer. I didn't sleep well, so I was feeling sluggish when I got to work in the morning. I kept my eyes on the office entrance, wondering when Owen would show up. At 10:40, the door was pushed open. A man in a black suit walked in. He was tall and slender, with an air that kept everyone at a distance. His features were handsome, and his cool gaze swept across the room before landing on me. Laura, come to my office. I took a deep breath. After psyching myself up, I finally managed to put on a pleasant smile before walking in. Owen had already taken off his black suit jacket. The white dress shirt underneath accentuated his physique. He was looking down, flipping through some documents. He didn't even look up when he heard my voice. Sit. I sat down obediently. Owen looked up and took a sip of his coffee. Lena told me you want to transfer to the Phoenix office? Yes. It's good that you're fighting for it, Owen said, looking at me. But you know there are others in the company who are also interested. This trip to Phoenix was framed as a training opportunity, but it was really a promotion and a raise in disguise. I'm giving you all a week to prepare a proposal for this project. Whoever does the best job gets the spot. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong, I said with a smile. I'll work hard on it. A few seconds passed. Owen frowned slightly. Is there something else? No, nothing. The pop-up comments had gotten to me. My eyes kept drifting downwards, unconsciously. It wasn't until I caught his cold stare that I snapped back to reality. I must be going crazy from work. There's no way Owen would ever be interested in me. I went to the bathroom to touch up my makeup. Looking at my own plain, unremarkable face in the mirror, I felt even more dazed. To be honest, my face wasn't pretty, but it wasn't ugly either. Just average. Tan skin. A nose that was neither high nor low. Eyes that were neither large nor small but held a certain resilience. The first impression most people had of me was that I was tough. And I was. I fought my way from a small town to the big city. I used every bit of cunning and every trick I had to get a foothold here. I know myself. So, based on my circumstances, I chose Mark, who came from a decent family back in college. He didn't like me at first. He was still hung up on an old flame. But it's always easier when the woman makes the first move. Especially with a carefully crafted plan designed to win him over. After a series of chance encounters and discovering our shared interests, Mark started to come around. At that stage of my life, he was the best option I could find within my dating pool. And he still is. It's not about sparks, it's about suitability. That's my philosophy on relationships. And that's why I want to marry him. But Owen is different. I've never even fantasized about a guy like Owen. He was seemingly born with a halo. A privileged family, stunning looks. A cold personality. To me, he was a character with all the cheat codes enabled. In our 4 years of college, I barely interacted with him. He didn't like me. I could tell from his eyes. He even seemed a little disgusted by me. Our first meeting wasn't exactly pleasant. On a sweltering summer day, I was standing at the school gate, trying to sell student discount cards to everyone who passed. When he walked by, I didn't notice him and almost bumped right into him. He frowned, quickening his pace to get away. The second time we met, I was on a staircase, sucking up to an upperclassman. He was coming down the stairs. His impassive eyes fell on me for a second before moving on. Later, we ended up in the same student club. But even then, we barely spoke. I have a rule: if someone doesn't like me, I don't bother trying to win them over. He disliked my ambitious, money-grubbing attitude. And I disliked his pretentious, holier-than-thou act. So, during college, our mutual dislike was pretty much a tie. That delicate balance was only broken when he suddenly went abroad to study in his junior year. And then, at 25, he parachuted in as my direct supervisor. I never thought Owen would like me. Just as I never thought I would fall for Owen. The very idea is as terrifying as a horror story. When I got home from work, Mark was already there. He seemed to be in a great mood and had already showered. He's actually kind of cute. And his personality is decent enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so reluctant to let him go. Mark hugged me and gave me a kiss. My poor, hard-working wife. I turned my head, my eyes crinkling into a smile. Then my husband should make it up to me. I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him. A few minutes later, we stalled out again. Mark looked embarrassed. Once things at work calm down, I'll go see a doctor, maybe try some traditional medicine. It's okay, I said, being understanding. It was still great. He got out of bed and grabbed a new comforter. You know what, I'll sleep in the study. Otherwise, I'll just end up bothering you again. The door closed once more. I covered my face and let out a deep sigh. The desire he'd sparked had no outlet, and I was starting to feel antsy. But the thought of yesterday's pop-up comments still made me shudder. I was afraid I'd see those words again. After tossing and turning for over an hour, I couldn't stand it anymore. I took it out of the drawer. As I was cleaning it, I told myself that what I heard that day had to be a hallucination. I was definitely just overworked and stressed. There was no way a guy like Owen could be into me. With that self-reassurance, my anxious heart finally settled down. I went back to focusing on the task at hand. And the pop-up comments appeared again. Is Owen about to make an appearance? Sobbing mom, dad, this is the moment I was born for. Owen seems a little stunned. Did he see something? You bet he did. Because I was in the middle of it, it was hard to pull myself away. The next second, I felt like the object had a mind of its own. She thinks the toy is just that good, but really, LOL, the hardware is just top-notch. OMG, is this the part where Owen realizes it's not a hallucination? He's so proactive. He's accepting it this fast? What can I say? We other guys have to be aggressive and opportunistic. Fighting through the discomfort, I pulled myself out of the moment. This time, I made up my mind. Whether it was real or a hallucination, this thing had to go. So, in the middle of the night, I threw it in my kitchen trash can. But that didn't feel safe enough. I went outside and tossed it into the dumpster downstairs. The next day, Owen didn't come to the office. Our director, Mr. Evans, said he had a family emergency and had taken a week off. I felt a strange sense of relief. Pop-up comments: what family emergency? He's just freaking out. LMAO, if I were him, I wouldn't dare leave the house either. He's too scared to face her, isn't he? Just then, Mr. Evans walked over. He picked up a file. Take this over to Owen for me. He took out his phone and typed a few lines. With a ding, Mr. Evans said, I just sent you the address. He needs it urgently. I watched his retreating back, the file in my hands feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Owen is going to lose his mind. He asked Mr. Evans to send a file, not his wife. This is what you call shooting yourself in the foot. He's too scared to come to the office but can't let go of work. I took a deep breath and tried to clear my head. A few minutes later, I left the office with the file. Owen lived in one of New York's most famous upscale neighborhoods. The prices were so outrageous it was hard to even comprehend. The security at the gate was tight, but Mr. Evans must have called ahead. They let me in after I gave them my name. I stood at his front door and rang the bell a few times. A few minutes later, the door opened from the inside. Owen was in his pajamas. His normally weary eyes paused for a second when he saw me. Pop-up comments. Owen, what fresh hell is this? LMAO. I'm dying. This is hilarious. I held out the file. Mr. Evans asked me to bring this to you. Owen lowered his gaze, his long fingers taking the file from me. His tone was flat. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. Laura. He stopped me. I turned back, confused. Want a cup of coffee? I gave an awkward laugh. No thanks, coffee keeps me up at night. Owen walked back into his apartment. Come in. Let's talk about your ideas for the Phoenix project. Sunlight streamed into the spacious apartment. Owen's personality was cold, and the decor was minimalist to match. The place lacked a human touch. He went into the kitchen and came back with a glass of water for me. It's this or coffee. I quickly took it. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. But he didn't let go of the glass. I looked at him, confused. His fingers curled, then lightly brushed against my hand as he finally released the glass. He walked away as if nothing had happened. Right. He sat down across from me. The air was thick with a subtle awkwardness. I put my smile back on and shifted into work mode, starting my report for Owen. He remained expressionless the entire time. By the time I finished, I had no idea how much of it he actually approved of. His fingers tapped idly on the table. After I stopped talking, his narrow eyes landed on me again. If you take on this project, you'll need to be in Phoenix for a year-long business trip. I'm fine with that. What I mean is, Owen said, lacing his fingers together, as I understand it, you have a boyfriend and are planning to get married this year. Will he be okay with you being away for that long? I didn't say anything. More accurately, my brain couldn't process what to say. Owen leaned back in his chair, his tone casual. Won't being apart for a year affect your relationship? Time seemed to slow down. Owen appeared to have an unusual amount of patience today. I pinched myself, then looked up, maintaining my professional smile. Of course not. A relationship is a relationship, and work is work. I won't let it affect my performance. Seriously? As if I would throw away a career opportunity for a relationship. I thought Owen must be losing his mind. But a second later, the pop-up comments started again. OMG, is Owen jealous? He's got that crazy look of a guy trying to steal someone's girl. Heh, it's the quiet ones you have to watch out for. I looked up again, puzzled. This time, Owen didn't avoid my gaze. Am I that good-looking? No. I quickly looked down. Owen said. He stood up and turned away. You can head back to the office now. Pop-up comments, does anyone else see him running away in panic? He got nervous when his wife looked at him, didn't he? I'm eating this up. A week later, my proposal, along with everyone else's, was reviewed. After some discussion, it was decided that I, along with a few people from other teams, would be sent to Phoenix. Surprisingly, Owen was going too. Which meant I'd have to keep working with him. Right. Life is just full of endless joy. A colleague came over. You're about to leave on your trip, so Mr. Evans is throwing a farewell party for you guys. I wasn't surprised. It was a company tradition. The company prided itself on its friendly culture, which was why its benefits were way ahead of other companies. Parties like this were common. I turned and smiled. No problem. The party was at the boiling pot. The bosses weren't there, just our team colleagues. This was also a company tradition. The thinking was that people couldn't relax with management around, so it had become an unspoken rule. Following the usual routine, we had dinner first and then moved on to karaoke. After all was said and done, it was already 10 o'clock at night. As we left the private room, we were about to hail a cab when a black Cullinan pulled up to the curb. The window rolled down, revealing Owen's impeccably cold face. I'll give you a ride. I was stunned. The alcohol must have been messing with my head. By the time I snapped out of it, everyone else had already piled into the car. Only the front passenger seat was empty. Owen honked the horn, his tone slightly impatient. I can't park here. I quickly got in. One by one, my colleagues were dropped off. An hour later, it was just me and Owen in the car. This was the second time I had been in Owen's car. Maybe it was the alcohol, but my mind drifted back to a long time ago. We had just finished a competition. The people in our group decided to go out for a celebratory meal. The place wasn't easy to get a cab from, so seeing Owen was like seeing a savior. The social butterfly of our group went up to him. Hey Owen, mind giving us a lift? In the dim light of the evening, Owen's face looked cold. When I looked over at him, he looked back at me. After a few seconds, he glanced away. You coming or not? A few people noisily rushed over. A classmate grabbed my wrist. What are you waiting for? That day, too, after dropping everyone else off, it was just the two of us. I could feel that Owen didn't like me, so I stayed silent the entire time. But my phone buzzed with one message after another. By then, I had successfully won Mark over. He texted me, "Are you back yet? Want me to come pick you up?" Owen's gaze fell on my phone. Boyfriend? At that moment, the familiar sound of a text message pulled me back from my memories. Mark was texting me. Babe, I'm not coming home tonight. Love you, hugs and kisses. Owen's voice, incredibly detached, cut through the silence. Your boyfriend? Huh? I said. His expression was extremely sour. His lips seemed to twitch into a forced smile. He keeps you on a tight leash. The next day, I told Mark about the business trip to Phoenix. I thought I'd have to do a lot of convincing. But to my surprise, he was lost in his own world. It wasn't until I called his name several times that he looked up. It's fine, you should go. Mark took my hand, stood up, and kissed my cheek twice. Just remember to text me often. Knowing Mark as well as I did, I could tell something was very wrong. But work was so hectic that I didn't have time to dwell on it. Over the next few days, Mark was out early and back late. He seemed incredibly busy. Until one day, I found a photo in his pocket. It was a small, wallet-sized picture, like it had been cut out from something larger. I recognized the person immediately. Jessica. Mark's old flame. I calmly put the photo back. I didn't care about people from his past, as long as he didn't cross any fundamental lines. Of course, I wasn't completely naive. That night, while Mark was in the shower, I unlocked his phone. But his messages were completely empty. So clean it was unnerving. A few days later, I arrived in Phoenix. The company rented a small apartment for me near the office. At night, I could see the city skyline from my window. Being new to the Phoenix branch, I wasn't familiar with the business operations yet. This meant my workload was even heavier than it had been in New York. As a result, I had almost no time to worry about Mark's strange behavior. After all, I was busy as hell. Of course, the only person busier than me was Owen. His workload was insane. He basically worked until whatever late hour I did, every single day. The only difference was, the next morning, he would still look completely refreshed, not at all like someone who had been drained by the night. At 11 p.m., I closed my laptop. Just as I was about to leave, Owen came out of his office. He saw me and nodded. Want to grab a bite to eat? Lately, I had been interacting with Owen more and more. We were also eating together more often. His apartment was right across the hall from mine. We saw each other constantly. Every time I tried to refuse, Owen would lure me in with work-related matters. And it was true that I had a lot to learn from him professionally. He really was a great colleague. But there were also plenty of complications. He would often sunbathe shirtless on his balcony. Sometimes, I'd see him when I was hanging my laundry. He'd be completely unfazed. And his gaze on me would linger longer and longer. The sound of the pop-up comments was impossible to ignore. I feel like Owen is one step away from wagging his tail for her. Let me be the other man, please, let me be the other man. Ahem. I turned my head away. The food went down the wrong pipe. I immediately reached for a napkin, but in the next second, Owen was already by my side. He gently patted my back. He seemed to smile. Am I going to eat you? No. I quickly backed away. It was just a little weird. His outstretched hand froze in midair. After a moment, he pulled it back and said nothing more. Owen drove me home. I was about to get out, but the car door was still locked. I tried the handle again and realized he had no intention of opening it. He was casually scrolling through his phone. How many years have you and your boyfriend been together? 4. Is it serious? It's okay. Owen put his phone down. Laura, what's your take on relationships? Huh? The topic changed so fast I was a little lost. Half of his face was bathed in the warm, yellow glow of the streetlights. His eyelashes were lowered. Then he dropped a bomb. Could you accept a relationship with cheating? Cough, cough, cough. I started coughing violently. Pop-up comments, holy crap, talk about a straight shooter. I can't take it. Ah. Owen handed me a tissue. I took it. Thanks. What I mean is, Owen looked at me again. If you found out your boyfriend was cheating on you, would you stay with him? Would you break up with him, Laura? Owen's words kept me up all night. Some things are fine as long as they remain unspoken. But his tone was so blunt that even pretending to be oblivious felt awkward. After that day, I started avoiding Owen. After all, while I admit I'm not exactly a saint, it doesn't mean I'd do something morally corrupting or willingly destroy my current life. Fortunately, once I got used to the new workflow, I no longer needed to interact with him as frequently. Owen, of course, sensed my change in attitude. Occasionally, at the office, I could still feel his cold gaze on me. But I never once looked up. On Saturday, Mark sent me a message. "Babe, I'm coming to Phoenix to see you tomorrow. I got you a present." I replied, "Okay." The next day, the company suddenly assigned a new task. Everyone on my team stayed late to work on it. I was still busy when Mark arrived. When I got his text, I told my colleague, "I have to run downstairs for something, I'll be back in a few minutes." I rushed out, bumping into Owen on my way. I nodded. "Hi, Mr. Armstrong." He gave a cold in response. Downstairs, I saw Mark from a distance. He ran over just like he used to, hugged me, and gave me a kiss. "Babe, I missed you so much." Thinking about his strange behavior, my smile wasn't as natural as it used to be, but I kept it in place. "I missed you too, honey. A gift for you." Mark handed me a jewelry box. I opened it. It was a rose gold necklace. Mark put it on for me, then caressed my face. "All right, you should get back to work. I have to head back too. I'll come see you again when I get some time." I nodded and watched him leave. I was about to go back inside when I saw Owen standing there, hands in his pockets, watching me coldly. My smile froze on my face. Owen walked over. "Your boyfriend?" "Yeah." I smiled. "I'm heading back up to work now. You should touch up your makeup." Owen's gaze fell on my lips, his tone almost malicious. "Your lipstick is smeared. It's ugly." I froze for a second. I'm not an idiot. I could hear the malice in his voice. What surprised me more was that words like that could actually come from Owen. I'm the type who always gets even, so I looked up, my eyes crinkling into a wide smile. "Thanks for the tip, Mr. Armstrong. I'll fix it as soon as I get upstairs." He didn't reply. I didn't look back either, just stomped my feet a little harder as I walked away. Just as I was about to go upstairs, someone grabbed my arm. Owen was pulling me away. I was shocked and tried to break free, but he grabbed me with both hands. "We need to talk." In the company parking garage, Owen leaned into his car to get something, one hand still gripping me tightly. After grabbing it, he opened the back door and pushed me onto the seat. He stared at me without blinking as he slowly tore open a yellow manila envelope. "Laura, do you really think your boyfriend is deeply in love with you?" He pulled out a photo and tossed it at me. "Want me to tell you that a month ago, while you were working late at the office, he was having dinner with his old flame?" I looked down. Then came a second photo, and a third. "While you were asleep at home, he was taking a walk with her. While you were having dinner with me, he was at her place for several hours. He leaned in, his cool fingers touching my neck. Why do you think he gave you that necklace? Do you really think it's because he missed you, because he couldn't bear to be without you?" "No." He gripped my neck, moving closer. "It's because they slept together yesterday. He feels guilty for cheating, so he bought you a gift. You think that's love? He's just buying himself a clear conscience." The last photo landed on me. The air was suddenly silent. I gathered the photos and looked at them one by one. After I finished, I suppressed my emotions. "I've seen them. So what? Owen, what does my relationship have to do with you? Don't tell me, the last pretense was shattered, you're in love with me." Owen's dark eyes were fixed on me. He didn't answer for a long time. I tried to push him away, to get out. Owen grabbed my hand again and pushed me back down. The light in the parking garage was dim, and with his back to it, the inside of the car felt even darker. His usually cool and collected eyes now held a hint of self-destruction. Owen's lips parted slightly. "You're right. I love you. So, Laura, break up with him. Marry me. I hate that he's your boyfriend. I hate that he kisses you, I hate that he hugs you. I hate that he fucks you." His tone faltered for a second, then his eyes met mine again. Coldly. Because I want to fuck you. Once desire is spoken, it can't be contained. He gently lifted my chin. Do you want me to say it again? Laura. I slapped his hand away. Owen didn't seem to care. You want to climb the ladder, don't you? You want to go higher, right? I looked up and glared at him. He leaned down to meet my gaze. I'll use my money, all my resources, to pave the way for you. I only have one condition. Laura, break up with him. Back at my apartment, I stared at the photos in my hand, my mind a chaotic mess. But I forced myself to pull myself out of that muddy state, just as I had countless times before. Laura, why did you choose the name Laura? Because it means green shoot, something that always grows back. Many years ago, I told myself to love myself more than anything. That philosophy was enough to help me, even after discovering Mark's infidelity, to quickly analyze my options and find the best path forward. A breakup was inevitable. With the evidence I had, I could negotiate for better terms. The apartment we lived in was paid for jointly. During the split, I could demand ownership of it and then pay him his share based on the current market value. Yes, I had to stay calm and rational during the negotiation. Don't get angry. As I thought this, I looked at my reflection and saw a numb expression on my face. I didn't like seeing myself like that. Curling up under the covers, I forced myself to close my eyes. Laura, just let tomorrow handle tomorrow's problems. I took 3 days off from work. Without telling Mark, I flew back to New York. But life, it seems, doesn't need any more sudden shocks. The moment I keyed in the code and opened the door, I saw Mark kneeling beside Jessica, applying medicine to her leg. They were both startled to see me. Mark scrambled to his feet. Why are you back so suddenly? Jessica tried to stand up on her injured leg but winced in pain. Mark quickly steadied her. Tears welled up in Jessica's eyes. It's not what you think, please don't misunderstand. I hated this kind of cheap drama. My mood was surprisingly stable. Mark, we need to talk. I turned to Jessica. Could you wait outside for a bit? After I'm done with him, I'll talk to you. I was being far too polite. Jessica was a little flustered. Oh, okay. The door closed from the outside, leaving just Mark and me in the room. Mark tried to walk over and take my hand like he always did, but I stepped back. I took the photos out of my bag, one by one. With each picture I laid out, the color drained a little more from his face. Mark, you cheated. I stated it as a fact. So, let's break up. Mark panicked. He reached out and grabbed my hand. No, we're not breaking up. If you don't agree, these photos will be sent to your office tomorrow. I looked up at him. I don't want to make this ugly. I've thought it through. I get the apartment. I'm used to living here, but I can pay you your share at market value. That's a fair request, isn't it? And I'll make a list of all the expenses I covered for your parents' visits and send it to you. Listening to my calm analysis, Mark gave a bitter smile. Do you even love me? At this point, there was no use in telling more pretty lies. Our relationship was built on scheming, manipulation, and falsehoods. As it ended, I gave him one moment of honesty. I just love myself more. When I opened the door, Jessica was waiting outside. She looked away guiltily when she saw me. I smiled. Don't worry, I don't bite. I just have one question. When you got with Mark, was it because you liked him, or did Owen put you up to it? Jessica's head shot up. I had my answer. Thank you for clearing that up. I walked out of the apartment building and stopped. My eyes landed on a familiar black Cullinan. A message from Owen popped up on my phone. Either you get in the car, or I'm coming over there. Click. I closed the car door. Owen passed me a bottle of water from the back seat. I didn't take it. He was remarkably calm. Did you sort everything out? Yes. When are you moving out? He's the one moving, not me. Is it really over? Smack. I slapped Owen across the face. He didn't flinch or try to dodge, just let me hit him. Owen, what is it that you like about me? I finally asked the question that had been bugging me. I looked at him as if I were seeing a ghost. Is it because of the psychic link? Did you get attached to the feeling? It was just too absurd. When Owen heard me mention the link, his hand twitched slightly. A flash of shame crossed his eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it came. He grabbed my hand. I tried to pull away, but he held on tighter. No, Laura. The truth is, I've loved you for a very long time. I had never expected that answer. I was stunned for a moment, but I quickly composed myself. Love wasn't important. What I cared about was this. Were you serious when you said you'd help me pave the way? I looked at him with complete sincerity. Owen's face lit up with joy. Of course I was. Even if I don't want to be with you right now? The joy in his eyes faded instantly. He closed his eyes. Yes, even if you're not with me. Okay, then there was no problem. In a relationship, love doesn't matter much to me. But loyalty is crucial. In other words, I can accept a loveless relationship. But I cannot accept betrayal. That's why I was breaking up with Mark. But Owen, in my cost-benefit analysis, he only represented one thing. Being with him, I could get everything I wanted. I could climb higher, go further. I'm just not someone who falls in love easily. Therefore, I always choose what's most suitable for me. I smiled at Owen. All right. In that case, maybe I'll consider you when I'm in a good mood someday. I realized the pop-up comments hadn't appeared in a long time. They appeared strangely and disappeared just as strangely. I guess it was because this stupid love triangle was finally resolved. In any case, it was a good thing. After Owen laid his cards on the table, he started coming to my place often. I'd ignore him. He'd just sit on my sofa by himself for the whole afternoon. Mark tried to win me back. He couldn't get used to the fact that his home was suddenly gone. After all, I had played my part very well. When Owen saw Mark's name on my phone, his eyes darkened. I smiled at him. Then I answered the call right in front of him and walked out, closing the door behind me. Once outside, my smile vanished. I said to Mark, I'm giving you one last week. If you don't come get your stuff, I'm throwing it out. And don't contact me again. The sun cast a long shadow on the ground. I ended the call and turned back, stepping on my own shadow. I saw Owen leaning against the door, watching me. His expression was neither happy nor angry. Just like the smile on his lips, which held no warmth at all. What, thinking of rekindling an old flame? Yeah, I said lightly. Why, you want to be the other man? Owen smiled. I'd be fine with that. Too bad his acting wasn't as good as mine. Not long after, he made an excuse and left. Owen's mother came to see me once. She was the wife of a wealthy man, elegant in every gesture. Of course, her gaze was also full of judgment. What will it take for you to leave my son? I've seen plenty of girls like you. All you want is money. Owen's mother slid a credit card across the table. There's $10 million on here. Mark's mother had come to see me before, too. She was a lot like Owen's mother, looking down on me for my humble background. But back then, I was desperate to put down roots in this city. In other words, I just wanted a home of my own. So even though Mark's mother's words were laced with insults, I was still able to put on a good act. I would visit her from time to time with gifts. The thing I said most often was, I'm really sincere. Now, faced with Owen's mother, I had much less patience. I guess it's true that the one who is loved has the upper hand. So I couldn't stand even the slightest grievance. Therefore, I slid the card back to her. Ma'am, you need to talk to Owen about this, not me. After all, I'm not the one who won't leave. He's the one who can't leave me. Later, I reenacted the entire scene for Owen. I peeled an orange and said slowly, "This is your family issue, you deal with it. I don't want to be involved in this anymore." Owen promised, "I guarantee she won't bother you again." A week later, Mark came and moved his things out. I hadn't seen him in a while. He seemed to have lost a lot of weight. I'd heard a few things about him. Jessica had dumped him and left the country. Before she left, she called him useless. The perfect first love illusion had been completely shattered, leaving nothing but dust. As a result, his gaze on me was filled with regret. "We can still be friends after the breakup. If you need anything, you can always call me." Laura, his eyes were red. "I really do love you." Before I could reply, a car not far away honked its horn. Owen got out of the car and stood there, arms crossed, watching me. "Laura, get over here." Mark was confused. "Keys." Owen couldn't take it anymore and strode over. He grabbed my hand without giving Mark so much as a glance. Once we were in the car, he sat in silence for a long time. I looked at him, annoyed. "Were you just ordering me around?" "Owen, in what capacity are you talking to me like that? I haven't agreed to be your girlfriend yet." Owen stared at me coldly. He didn't say another word and started the car. That evening, I flew back to Phoenix. I had only taken the one day off. Owen returned with me. No one at the office noticed anything unusual between us. I had requested that. I need a healthy work environment. Owen's lips curved into a slight smile. Of course. After that argument, our relationship returned to its previous state. I was lukewarm, and he was patient. Owen also seemed to be back to his normal self. The night air carried a cool breeze. As I was leaving the office, I saw Mark again. He was waiting under a streetlight. When he saw me, he waved. "Laura." I walked over to him. "What is it?" Mark smiled at me and pulled a good luck charm out of his pocket. "I heard this temple is really effective, so I got this for you." Before I could say anything, a figure rushed forward. Thwack. A fist landed on Mark's face. Owen stared at me coldly, then leaned down again, grabbed Mark by the collar, and punched him again. "If you ever bother her again, I swear to God I'll kill you." Mark tried to fight back, but Owen easily restrained him. I rushed forward and pulled Owen back. "Have you lost your mind?" Only then did he look up at me. The next second, he grabbed my hand and dragged me toward his car. The moment he opened the door, he pushed me inside. I struggled. He cupped my face and kissed me. I slapped him. He kissed me again. The metallic taste of blood spread through my mouth. Owen knelt over me, pinning me down. He held my face in his hands. His eyes were filled with such heavy desire that I nervously looked away. Suddenly, a shadow fell over me. His hot kiss landed on my lips again. I pushed against his shoulders. "Owen, you." He held me down. "He can't even get it up, what are you so hesitant about? Can he make you happy? Am I not better than him? Why are you still seeing him?" The light in the parking garage was dim, and with his back to it, the inside of the car felt even darker. His usually cool and collected eyes now held a touch of madness. "Laura, you can be angry with me, you can get revenge on me however you want. But I won't let you contact him again." I glared at him. "What gives you the right? What right do you have to stop me?" The peace of the past few days was completely shattered. All pretenses were gone. I laughed, exasperated. "So you know I'm angry with you. Did you ever think about me when you were doing all that? Why can't I be mad at you? You ruined my perfectly good life, why can't I be angry? Since I was very young, I knew I wasn't a forgiving person. I hold grudges and never forget a wrong. If someone dislikes me, I'll dislike them right back. If someone hurts me, I'll hurt them just as much. I know it was Mark's weakness that made him fall into his trap. But that doesn't mean I think Owen is completely innocent. Why should I be the only one in pain? He has to hurt too. Owen smiled, and in the darkness, it looked a little terrifying. It doesn't matter. After today, he won't dare to contact you again. Laura, he looked at me. This is a game between us. We can play it however we want. But if you bring in a third person. He curled his lip. I will lose my mind. Try me if you don't believe me. The first time Owen saw Laura was during his freshman year of college. She was selling student discount cards in the scorching summer heat. Even from a distance, he could hear her voice. Flattering, fawning. She could talk her way into anything. His first impression of her wasn't good. It was actually pretty bad. But strangely, he still remembered the day she said, "My name is Laura." Laura had tan skin, and when she smiled in the sun, her teeth were almost blindingly white. Her eyes had a powerful intensity. They often reminded him of a young Alanpard, full of fight. Throughout college, he saw her working part-time jobs all over the place. A boba shop, a clothing store. A private tutor. A salesperson. She was so glib and persuasive that he would often find himself lost in thought just watching her. Laura had something he had never possessed. A resilience like a blade of grass that grows back even after being cut down. Even with such a packed schedule, she still managed to get straight A's. But Laura didn't like him. Whenever he looked at her, she would quickly look away, as if she had seen something disgusting. This annoyed him. But young men are often arrogant. Owen was no exception. He forced himself to stop paying attention to her. Until, not long after, he overheard some people talking. Did you hear? Laura is going after Mark. It's always easier when the girl makes the first move. And you know, even though Laura isn't a classic beauty, there's something about her drive that's really attractive after a while. He couldn't quite put a name to the feeling in his chest. Annoyance? Frustration? Whatever it wasn't pleasant. That day, he saw Laura on the athletic field. Under the moonlight, Laura and Mark were kissing. He just stood there and watched. When he went home that night, he had a strange dream. He dreamt that the person kissing Laura was him. She was staring at him with those bright, sparkling eyes. Owen, you don't have a crush on me, do you? Because I, for one, can't stand you. He woke up with a jolt. For a long time after that, he thought he was going crazy. He had barely even spoken to Laura, yet she had become the star of his fantasies. But love often defies logic. One day, he saw Laura and her friends trying to hail a cab by the side of the road. On a strange impulse, he pulled over. When she saw him, there was no joy in her eyes. Only irritation. He ignored the brief sting of discomfort and agreed to give them a ride home. He dropped Laura off last. Laura rested her head against the window, unusually quiet. But the sound of her phone buzzing was incredibly jarring. He saw who was texting her. He asked, feigning nonchalance, "Boyfriend?" She seemed a little surprised. "Yeah." He didn't say anything else. Asking a question you already know the answer to doesn't make the asker feel good. It just makes you feel insane. He felt a faint sense of self-loathing. Ultimately, it took him several days to decide to study abroad. At the time, Owen thought this crush was just a temporary thing. Fleeting. It would fade with time. Life as an exchange student was busy, and it was true that he rarely thought of her. But when he did, usually in the quiet moments, the dreams were always vivid. Later, he returned to the country. And he saw Laura again, at his own family's company. She seemed to have changed. And yet, she seemed to have not changed at all. And so, the feelings he had buried in his youth came roaring back, stronger and more intense than ever. Until one day, he discovered a system. "Do you want to have Laura?" The system asked him. "Do you want her? I can help you get her." All you have to do is agree to let your life become the raw material for my story. At the time, he didn't understand what the system meant. He was just consumed by greed. An unfillable void. Caught in a spiral of self-hatred, he chose the agree button without hesitation. He thought, what does it matter? Love unrequited. Moral constraints, repressed desires. Eventually, they turn you into a monster. At 28, I agreed to be with Owen. By then, I had already left the company and started my own furniture brand. Owen had pulled a lot of strings for me behind the scenes. He knew what I wanted. And he was willing to feed my suppressed ambitions, bit by bit. I was desperate to make a name for myself. When I was little, when we were so poor we went hungry. My wish was just to have enough to eat. Later, when I saw other kids going to school, my wish was to get into college. When I made it to New York, my wish changed again, to have my own home in the city. I have to admit, I am a person of great desire. Therefore, I would always seize every resource I could find to claw my way up. Over the past few years, my relationship with Owen had stabilized. Mark never appeared again. Owen went back to being the polite, restrained man he was before. I wouldn't agree to be with him, but he wasn't in a rush. I don't understand what he loves about me. Loves me enough to give me jewelry, houses, and cars. Loves me enough to come to my place and cook for me all the time. Loves me enough to pave the way for my success without a single complaint. No one has ever been this good to me. And no one has ever loved me as unreservedly as Owen. But the tiny bit of resentment I had left in my heart had long since faded. On his birthday, Owen got drunk. I knew he was faking it. And he knew that I knew. I held his face in my hands and asked, Owen, do you want to? I do. He held my face and kissed me. His kiss was urgent and fierce, as if he wanted to consume me whole. When I woke up, Owen asked me, are we boyfriend and girlfriend now? No. He asked me this question a total of 21 times. And I gave him the same answer 21 times. Even I didn't know why I was always so reluctant to agree. Until I was 27. One day, I found myself thinking about the question with a sudden weariness. I agreed to be with Owen. At 28, Owen took me home to meet his parents. When his mother saw me, she was nothing like she was the first time. She was actually very warm. As if she had completely forgotten about the time she tried to make me leave her son. At 29, I accepted Owen's proposal. That night, Owen was unusually gentle. Afterward, he held me and said, for years, I was obsessed with whether you loved me or not. But now I've figured it out. It doesn't matter if you don't. As long as you're by my side. You won't run away, you won't leave me. That's enough. I was stunned. Owen smiled. The next second, he flipped me over and pressed me into the bed. He whispered, Laura, look. The moon is beautiful tonight. I once again asked the question that had always puzzled me. Owen, what do you love about me? Owen kissed my lips. I don't know either. Love happens before you realize it, and once you do, it grows wild. If I really had to give a reason. All I know is, Laura. You are the fire of my desire.